disconnected and yet thoroughly interconnected way. I've found that every time I read one of the stories, the same thing happens. I change it a little, adding another patina, another layer to the memory. But this is what any writer should do in the interest of storytelling. In the end, they're only stories. I'm not interested in autobiography. If this is a memoir, it's a faulty one, because I have given myself leave to invent elements within it. I suppose I am using the poetic voice to convey the authentic. I am more interested in depicting the events of my life as a means to identify and limn the mythology of being brown along the U.S.-Mexico border during a specific period in time, beyond politics, beyond polemics and rhetoric, in order to share those resonances with others who are my age and others who are experiencing similar things right now. One thing I have learned from writing these retablos: the shit on the border never changes. There will always be those who want to come across and those who want to keep them where they are. The push and pull, the friction between the tectonic plates that are Mexico and the U.S. will always create mountains of stress, dislocation, and upheaval among the people who live there. Maybe this is political after all, but I think it's really a condition of our culture. It's how we live now. It is our particular mythology, replete with gods and monsters, heroes and fallen angels, troubadours and exiles. In the end, I'm trying to figure myself out. I'm coming to terms with who I am by looking back at what I was. I wrote Retablos to see how that skinny brown kid riding his bike out there in the desert made sense of his complicated, deeply beautiful and troubled world, so that perhaps I might learn to make sense of the one I live in today. Retablos. This is me in my old room, unpacking my bags on the bed I slept in more than 30 years ago, hearing my mother titter at something on the TV while my dad is stirring the caldo de pollo on the stove. He blurts out something crude in Spanish, and now both of them are roaring big as life, filling the house with horsey laughter. Then it hits me. This is how one of them will cry when the other dies. I look out the window, and I'm 13 all over again, getting ready for school. A polar front blew all the way down from Canada and locked us in an overnight freeze and didn't even have the manners to leave us any snow. Just a chill air and ice on the power lines. But as I come down the hall for my breakfast, I see my sister standing outside the maid's room, snarling something to herself. I ask her what happened, and she says, "The birds are dead." What? "The birds are dead," she says again. I look in the room and I see the maid, this young Mexican girl of 20 we hired to watch the house and cook food for us while my parents are at work. I see her sitting on her bed with her face in her hands. Sobs and the words "perdón, perdón" are slipping through her fingers. While she wipes her snot on her sleeve, I look past her at the cage where my mom's canaries are supposed to be perched. But they're not there. I come closer and find them both balled up and lifeless on the newspaper floor of the cage. They were old, their yellow feathers faded white, inherited from my grandmother when she moved to Fresno, only now they are dead. My sister says the maid left the window open and they froze. They couldn't take the cold. She should have known. Now look at them, she says. I'm about to ask where Mom and Dad are, but then I hear them laughing in their room. Why would they be laughing? I cross the hall and open the door, which is weird because they hardly ever close the door in the morning once they're up. And there they are, sitting on the bed next to each other, hands on their brows, crying so boisterously it sounds like they're busting at the seams at some practical joke. It's unnerving. I've never seen them wailing like this, bent over and shaking, their mouths contorted, bawling like children.